First we need to drill a hole in the bottom bracket. So if you line the bottom bracket up left and right on the right sides, we mark the position of the cable where it's going to come out the bottom bracket. So if we stay away from the welds and just mark where the hole's going to go. And get a centre punch to mark the hole. If we start with, say, a 6mm drill, to make it a bit easier for when we go to the 10mm. So we just start off taking it easy. Bit of cutting fluid helps cool the blade and lubricate the drilling hole. A piece of rolled up cardboard inside the bottom bracket helps catch all the swarf. When the hole's drilled, just clean up all the swarf around the hole and remove any burrs that have formed in the hole. And clean inside the bottom bracket any burrs that may have come through. Using a fine wire brush, remove all that blue stuff off this locking ring from the left hand side. When all the blue stuff is removed off that locking ring, use a bottom bracket tool to screw it into the left hand cup.
No, you're not paying in advance. No, you're paying by month. So once you've got the service, you're paying for the service.
So screw it in until that flange is just sticking out, and we'll tighten it up later. So the left hand cup has splines on it, and they line up with these little keys on the bottom bracket. So it's really important that when the bottom bracket goes in, it aligns with one of those keys. And then on the right hand side, there is a little key. So there's a spline missing on the shaft. So that has to line up with a little key on the inside of this right hand cup, so that when it slides on and is screwed up, it is in the correct position. We start by screwing the left hand cup in first. Making sure the threads are not cross-threaded. We then use a bottom bracket tool. In this case, it's the Unior 1609/2. So we keep tightening the cup until it's firmly in position. Inserting the bottom bracket, we need to insert the connector through the hole. So wiggle it around until you get it through. And then the bottom bracket slides in so that the connector on the bottom bracket unit lines up with the hole. And carefully pull on the cable as you push the bottom bracket in to locate it in the correct position. And also wiggle it around until the left hand side, you can feel the splines going into the cup. Place the grommet over the connector and then slide it down the cable and install the grommet into the bottom bracket. When you install the right hand bottom bracket cup, this part of the bottom bracket can rotate freely, which helps align that key onto the shaft. So if you push the bottom bracket out a few millimeters, being careful not to push it all the way out, and then slide the right hand cup onto the shaft axle, then you can rotate the axle until you feel that key engage and slide on. So when the key is engaged, the whole axle will rotate, and then you can tighten up the right hand cup. When the right hand side is tight, just check that the axle of the bottom bracket rotates freely, which this one does. It's nice and smooth. Now we need to tighten up that locking ring on the left hand side. So very carefully just tighten it, because it only goes to 8 Newton meters. So when the left hand side is tight to about 8 Newton meters, you can feel it. The outside should be flush with the cup. Then recheck the axle that it rotates freely. The bottom bracket kit comes with a special spider. So it has splines and it has a wider slot here, which lines up with the corresponding wider groove on the bottom bracket. So when it's installed, it engages like that. So this spider needs the chainring attached to it. So you have to remove the chainring off the existing crank and screw it onto the spider so that it looks like this. And if you align the chain rings with these little tabs here, in line with that wider tab here, when the crank goes on, they'll be in line. The chain ring is held on with a supplied locking ring, which is screwed onto the threads on the bottom bracket axle. So it's then tightened with a bottom bracket tool until it is very tight. When tightening, you can hold the bottom bracket axle with the left hand crank arm. There's a left hand and right hand crank, so they correspond to the correct pedal threads on each side. So they are installed in the usual way. With the bottom bracket screw into the axle.